and welcome everyone to the One Division spoiler cast. It is officially come and gone. It is now over, as much as that saddens me. So I'm Mitch. You can find me as always on Twitter, Mitch692, and I'm joined by Sean.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, that's me, Sean.
There we
You
go.
can follow me here.
There you go. Armin would have been here, but personal stuff has come up, so he unfortunately can't. So that's why this is going to be a bit late. But so we are going to go ahead and do this one. So
Hopefully
where
won't
do
bore you.
we begin? Where do
Well,
we begin?
let's begin at the beginning. I think that's a good.
Yeah. With this unusual couple.
Yeah. I love the cold open. The cold open, perfect. Like perfect replication of the old '60s TV
If
shows.
it looks like a walnut.
Yeah. And I believe that's what the goal was, is like, to try to replicate it as much as you can to make it more authentic.
I would say, like,
and I think
once jumping ahead a bit, once you get to, is it episode 8 with the flash, like the therapy session sort of an episode?
Yeah.
Like, once you get to there and they're watching the Dick Van Dyke Show and it's that specific, if it looks like a walnut episode, you can really tell what they were going for.
Yeah.
And it's like, the house is going to look like that house. Like especially down to every tiny little detail. And then what happens is going to kind of follow that a little bit. I wonder, is that the case for all the sitcom stuff? Are there episodes that they're mimicking?
For the most part, I think they put more into like the authenticity of like the first, like the black and white episodes.
Yeah.
But they did kind of like, they loosely based it on the 80s when it got to the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that. I think they wanted to just kind of set the premise, kind of put the fans into that that right frame of mind, and I think having the first 2 episodes as perfect as possible. I think that's I mean, it was supposed to be 3 episodes, the first for the premiere, but
as Matt Shackman said, there's due to the pandemic and everything going on, the finale had to be slightly retweaked. Yeah. Which meant they couldn't put the 3 out because then scheduling and all that sort of stuff. So it's
I think the pandemic and a lot of other things kind of I mean, it threw a monkey wrench in the production, but it didn't. I don't think it I don't think it really hurt the production that much. No. It just kind of had to force them to tweak it a little bit.
So, because weren't they near enough done by the time all the shutdown?
Yeah, I believe they were just about to like film in the last couple of episodes, right when it all started, and then they went back. Of course, additional photography and stuff like that. But like, for the most part, it was only 90% done by the time the pandemic hit full force, and I think Falcon and Winter Soldier hurt a little bit more production-wise.
I was going to say, seeing this and hearing what had to be done for this show, because it only seems like the finale was the one that hit the hardest.
Yeah.
And it's probably the one you can tell the most that it got hit by. So it's like, I wonder how Falcon's going to play out. But we'll find that out soon, because that's starting next week.
Next week, yeah.
Let me digest this show first, mother, please.
Yeah, I think with the Falcon and Winter Soldier thing, I mean, the episode count kind of helps it, soften the blow, when it comes to the stuff, but like, it did hurt, like, because of like, the Falcon and Winter Soldier had more on location shooting than WandaVision.
Yeah.
WandaVision was mostly...
We also know because of the earthquake where they were. Was it the Puerto Rico earthquake?
Yeah.
They went to like Hungary, and then like I believe eventually went back. So it's stuff happens. It's unfortunate, but it's not much you can really do about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you see it, you're not gonna like, oh my god, this is like it looked like it hurt. It just you'll notice little hiccups here and there, but it's not like too noticeable. But back to Wanda, like they had a better time because of like all, like, I'd say about 90% of it was all
soundstage and
and stuff like that, and that also helped stop leaking. You know, like that.
Well,
you know,
you would have hoped, because a lot of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can never stop it 100%. But like, I think, you know, percentage-wise, I think if it was out in the open, I think you'd hear and see a lot more. Because like when they're on the sound stages, there's like, it's like a bare bones, you know, crew.
Yeah,
you know, like with the exception of like a couple episodes where they had actual live studio audience in the background, which weren't many people, but it was, I think they supplemented it with laugh tracks. And then, you know,
yeah, I think Matt Shakman was saying that at least for the first two, they had a live audience, and then when it was like the 80s, they went
laugh track.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll notice, like, you know, like even the time, like the lengths of the episodes kind of mimic the episode lengths of like the ones that they were mimicking, you know, at the time.
Yeah.
And then it also they really wanted to try to create a more authentic atmosphere. So, like in the 80s and 90s, they had laugh tracks, you know, on the episode. So, you know,
speaking of like the whole 90s thing, was that just a pure oversight? Because Malcolm in the Middle is not the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, look,
like, not to bag on it or anything, but it's just like everyone going, "Oh, Malcolm in the Middle, so the 90s." Like, no, that show came out in 2000. Like, yes, the time period, that stage, you know, the culture and tone of the world hasn't shifted for a different decade yet, but it's just like that was very much a 2000 show.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure when the show debuted or anything like that, but I mean, the tone was there. I mean, like the tone of TV show, like comedies, really didn't shift that much between 90s and 2000s.
No.
So,
and in fairness to the show, it did come out on the 9th of January 2000.
Okay.
It was like virtually still the 90s. It was filmed in the 90s, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, but like, I think also you're looking at very recognizable sitcoms, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Again, I'm not really sure what the sitcoms were offering in the 2000s. Not much that was like stand out or anything like that. But like,
Scrubs
in the Middle is But I mean, like you're gonna have a hard time figuring out Scrubs in a.
I was gonna say like, to fit in. Context.
I think
the show it would have been weird. It would have been interesting to get a Scrubs episode, but
it would have been really interesting. But I think I think it would have been like I think again you would be like shoehorning something into something that
definitely.
You know, you just take something that's more family cultural, and just kind of like I you fudge it a little, everything's fudged a little bit here and there, but like I don't think anybody really. That wasn't a complaint for a lot of people. I think
I'm not complaining about it either. I just find it funny. It's like, she was 10 years old. The phone went off, and it's like, hold on, like that DVD of Malcolm Middle came out 3 years after she was 10.
But like,
not that anyone noticed apart from me. I'm just like, hang on a minute.
But they did consult Dick Van Dyke, for those first couple episodes. They tried it.
And Dick Van Dyke's in the MCU now. He's there.
Technically, yeah. But like it's
people wanted him for years, and look, there he is.
Well, he's Dick Van Dyke and Dick Van Dyke, But no, they really, really tried to make those first 3 episodes as authentic as possible. That way it sets the tone of the show. Like
it helps the later payoff.
Yeah,
like going into the show, everyone's kind of like, "Why sitcoms?" It's like, sitcoms, I guess, fine, whatever. And then it's like, no, it's not a gimmick. It's a focus of this character. It goes.
I think that's the trade-off when you do the week by week thing. That's why it was kind of if the 3 episodes was like if they were going to show the 3 episodes as planned, I think it wouldn't have been as jarring for some audience and fans. Because it would have been like, by the time you see all 3 of those episodes, the next episode would have shifted into, and you would have been into another era. I think it kind of mucked it up a little bit, but I mean,
see, I'm not sure. I to be honest, I could have happily just had this 1 episode a week from the beginning.
Yeah, I love
the conversation that came out every single week, and it dominated that weekend and even the week leading up to it. Like there was only like maybe 2 days we weren't talking about it, and then like people ramping back up into it. Like I would have been content with just that one episode from the start.
And I believe that's what Disney's trying to do, is to bring back that water cooler talk. Because like
I mean, for better or for worse, they've done it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for like the binge watching thing, there's a lot of minuses that come with it, because like you talk about Stranger Things for maybe a week and then it's done. Nobody talks about it anymore. And then but with this, it's just kept the show in the conversation for so long, And I mean, I honestly prefer it this way. I never really realized it until I started watching it this way.
No, I'm just saying. I think there's some shows, like binge shows, like the Netflix stuff, seems to be designed to be binged. Yeah. It's like, no, we're not going to have like massive cliffhangers at the end to keep you coming back every week. We're just going to kind of roll straight into it. Yeah. But like something like this, I think it works well as a binge once you've seen it a week to week. Once you've really had time to digest everything that's happened in an episode, and then watch it again, it works really well.
Yeah, it gives the second watching more, like you start finding more, because like when you're watching it the first time, you're more paying attention to what they're saying, not really paying attention about anything else. But then when that second viewing, you're like, then you start seeing the little Easter eggs that they put in there, the foreshadowing, stuff like that. That's when you start noticing those things, because, and then it helps, it helps viewership that way. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's like. Yeah. I would gladly I rewatch TV shows all the time, and as long as they're good. If they're bad.
Yeah, that tends to help,
Yeah, but I think the show works better as a week to week, I mean, if you look at it, like you said, man, the conversation was like, I mean, speculation. They built this show for speculation. Sometimes it, hurts it, but sometimes.
Sometimes. Just to talk about this speculation, because it's almost part of the show itself.
Yeah,
like it was obviously like it was designed to be speculated about, but the actual conversations that came from it.
Yes,
you can't talk about WandaVision without talking about how people just latched onto Mephisto and the X-Men and Reed Richards and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, fair enough. The world's been told that it's tying into that movie. You're going to kind of expect to see him in there. He wasn't. I mean, fair enough.
Well,
you got everything else. I can understand Mephisto, maybe.
Yeah.
It's the whole but everything else, like, huh?
Well, I think a lot of people are just so frothing at the mouth for
X-Men and Fantastic Four,
but they're not realizing, like, if you like, and it's not against the show obviously, but like they want to make sure that they do mutants correctly, and then dropping it in as an Easter egg. There's going to be Easter eggs of mutants in other shows, but like I think they're gonna they're more focused on doing this correctly than dropping it in, and willy-nilly. The speculation thing, I love speculation, but when I don't like it is like when it becomes
like, the expectation.
Yeah, the expectation of the person is judging the show on the expectations of what they think is going to happen versus what the storytellers intended to happen.
So I was literally, before we recorded this, watching a podcast about this, and they're going like, well, where's Quicksilver? Like that amounted to nothing. It's just like, but he wasn't Quicksilver. The whole point was he wasn't Quicksilver.
Yeah, and if people would, and this is not a knock against people. I think people are just watching it and not. And like this is designed to you're paying attention. You have to pay attention to what they're saying. There's words in the episode that clearly states that this is not Quicksilver. And like there's only like two things that would connect him to being Quicksilver. Him playing it in the Fox universe, and like maybe the powers in the hair. Other than that,
which the hair's clearly Wolverine. That's not Quicksilver.
Exactly. But like again, I'm not really against. I love speculating. I love hearing people speculate. I think it's fun, and it's fun for the people behind the scenes to hear the speculations. But it's kind of like, you got to enjoy what the storytellers intended versus like, hey, what you are expecting. And like none of this stuff was like promised or guaranteed to be in it. There's no, like some of these articles are like, they just didn't deliver on promises.
TV line.
No. Yeah. And like, the Luke Skywalker cameo, it's like none of that stuff was actually said by anybody connected to that show. Nothing was promised.
What was promised was a show about Wanda and Vision.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what they gave us.
And like, bias aside, I feel like, the show, I think, delivered in spades for what they intended to tell. Like it intended to tell a person going through grief and not accepting loss, and just so happens to be one of the powerfulest people in the world.
Which is I'm not sure if it's a trope, but it's something I love. I've always like that whole concept. Like it's the reason why I'm obsessed with Neon Genesis. It's like what you got this like mentally ill kid. What happens when you put him in a giant robot? Yeah. Like, what comes from that? And it's like what happens when this one of the most powerful beings on the planet is having a mental breakdown because of grief and trauma. That's what happened in our life.
And like when you're writing these shows and developing them, you can't avoid the trope. It's how you present it is what makes it different. Like there's always like there's a saying. There's always like 3 kinds of stories in Hollywood, and it's just how you tell that story is how it makes it different. There's gonna be the trope is never gonna get reinvented. There's always gonna be those tropes are always gonna happen. It's just how the storytellers decide to tell you and show you that trope is how it's whether it's good or bad or inventive, or like it's clever. And I think
that's honestly what I believe this show is. It is incredibly clever. Like it's got everyone thinking that Evan Peters was just there for a dick joke. It's like no, he's there for a very personal reference for Matt Shackman.
Well, and like if you look at it, it's all 80s and it's all TV show tropes, and like at the beginning.
And that's surprising people didn't catch that. Is it's why use him if it's not going to amount to anything? It's because it's a sitcom trope.
Yeah, it's a sitcom trope.
Every sitcom, like you always get the long lost family member that comes back, and they're not the same.
Well, like look at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That's a good example. It's like the mother was one person, and then season 3, it completely changed. Like a person that had looked nothing like that person. So it's playing on that TV trope in the story, in the context of like what they're telling.
And I think it's incredibly unfair to say that Quicksilver didn't amount to anything because as everyone should know by now, that this show, the episodes are the stages of grief.
Yeah.
Like if there was 10, it would have been a perfect 2-episode split for each stage, but there wasn't 10, but so there's 9. But like that point, Agatha even says it. Like she was so deluded by everything, she was willing to accept. That he was this. She was bargaining with herself to believe that this guy, this random stranger, just because he resembles her brother and can do the same things as her brother, is in fact he thinks he is.
And I think people that maybe have gone through this might understand. Like you don't like people that go through this don't like mistake their family members for, but the trope is there as a tool in the storytelling.
Yeah.
And like at the beginning of the series when they pitched the idea, it was billed as an experiment. Like this is like a new way to tell a story. Like that's why I love being a part of all of this stuff. It's like. And it's not a knock against like the other company, but like, I feel like the Marvel and Disney, they try at the very least to make a, like take something and disguise it as a different, like put a, like dress it up a little bit more, like take a turd and make it look better, or something like that, like it's it's refreshing, like you wouldn't get that from any other company, I don't think, because some companies are just like afraid to, divulge.
Take that risk.
Yeah,
because it is. I know people are going to say, like, it's just generic Marvel. It's like it does devolve into that for about 10 minutes at the end. But for the last, the previous 4 hours and 20 odd minutes of the actual show, minus credits and recaps, is
even the recaps.
I mean, even the recaps, because that all gets changed with the edits.
Well, yeah,
everything.
Like the recaps actually are part of the story because, like, and I'm sure this has been in like articles from here to to Africa, but like the credits also are a part of the storytelling because it's like you could tell that each episode you could tell from like she's happy and she just gets sadder and sadder and more and like the line delivery of previously on WandaVision. It's just the energy is like almost sucked out of it for each episode, and like you can tell where she is in her.
So she gets
stages.
It's exasperated, the right word.
I would say exasperated. Like she just feels like. I mean, by the end of the episode where the last sitcom thing is, you could tell in her voice that she is tired.
She's done.
Yeah,
I'm tired of this stuff. Like, come on.
But yeah, I mean, look, it's gonna always like these types of shows are gonna always go back into the superhero thing eventually. Yeah, I think I think this show for the first like 8 episodes, I think it's just like a wild ride, Like, I mean, you get like one of the like. Agatha was all along, that came out of nowhere, like
that's why things are done.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, and it works, it works so well, like because like up to this point you're expecting the unexpected with these shows because it's like at this point you're like you're going through the 60s and next thing you're going through the 70s, and like. I don't know. It just all works, and like I think.
So I think interesting ride with Agatha, with the show and the Agatha especially. Cause it's like you kind of everyone kind of knew she was Agatha at night all along.
Yeah.
Like, for lack of a better term, it's like it was no point in like I guess hiding it because obviously you wouldn't have had that big reveal. But with the speculating and everything, it leads you to believe that she is someone important and she is going to be. But it could have literally gone any direction in this show. Yeah. It's like, there was the whole thing with Dottie, and it's like, well, who the hell is Dottie? Like, she's got something. You don't go, she's the key to this town. And it's just like, And then they completely kneecap my Dottie theory right at the end, and I'm forever resentful that Arcana's not going to
Again, I think this was all designed that way. Like,
it very much feels like it was.
They didn't walk into this show and say, "Oh, we're gonna fool people and make people think Agatha is not, or that Agatha is not the person We're just gonna draw it out and make it feel like, maybe I'm wrong. It's a red herring. It's a trope.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and it worked on me personally. I don't know about anyone else, but definitely there's always that bit in my brain like, no, she's definitely Agatha. There's no way she's not Agatha Harkness. It's like, but is she actually? And then it's like,
Well, and I think that goes to the writing and Catherine Hahn. I mean, like the delivery in half the lines is like, and like the dialogue that she read, and the way she read it, it was like, it makes you. I mean, there's like specific parts in the show that like it just makes you feel like she's being held captive just as much as everybody else in the town. And
I think it was episode. When's the one that she comes in with the kids?
I think
it's after the kids are born, so that's got episode 5, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like that one. I was just kind of like, nah, she's just someone. Like they haven't done her at all. They've just done she's just some random nosy neighbor.
Yeah. Well, like for me, it's like even the thing that the episodes prior to all this, I still question a lot of that stuff because there was so much time between the time I've seen like some of this stuff and then actually watching it on Disney Plus. I think the scene for me that really kind of like made me question it was like 2 scenes actually. It was the scene with Paul Bettany outside or Vision outside
with her,
yeah, and then in the scene where he's at the edge of Westview, where she's in the car and
it's like, why is she? Yeah, because that bit was weird. It's like, well, why is she there?
But then, like when they do that hard left turn in that episode where they reveal it's like it is Agatha Harkness the whole time, and like the clever way of introducing that idea was like, it's another a TV trope, where the person, just, it's just all the people involved are geniuses, like, and I don't want to use that lightly, but, I think they created a glorious experiment,
I was gonna say it's minus the couple of flaws and issues. Yeah. It's not even an issue. It's so in the grand scheme of it and what the show eventually does with these characters, because it is a character study on them.
Yeah,
and just even with that bit at the end, it's like it's definitely right now. It's my favorite thing they've done. Hands down. Well, maybe whether that's because of the whole Scarlet Witch bias, because I adore that character to death. Like, I don't know, but it's just so well done. Like, if it, no matter what fault anyone has with this show, you can't argue how well done it is.
Yeah, I think. What was your favorite episode of the like?
That's a tough one. That's a tough. Yeah. I really like the Halloween episode.
Yeah, because there's a lot of like nice fan service in that show.
Yeah, like the Dormammu balloon. They didn't get past me in that one. No one talks about that. It's like that's a Dormammu.
It is, and then the costumes were really great.
I think that's why it edges it out. It's like I never thought I'd see the day. Like, I know they're ironic.
Yeah,
wearing them ironically, but god damn.
But I especially love Visions.
With his little felt gem on his head, it's so
good. With the yellow boxers. It's like that's so awesome. You're gonna see that a lot in Halloween too, I'm sure.
I'm fully expecting, if Halloween's on this year, to see even a con. The next big con, I'm expecting that.
Of course, you're gonna see a lot of Scarlet Witches and a lot of Visions. Whether they be white,
because Scarlet Witch cosplays, you now have this one thing gave you 3 different. It gives you more than 3. It gave you like 12 different options.
Yep.
You could do the episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, 4, 5, 7, 8,
paint yourself black and white.
Yeah. Which some people have been doing recently. It's creepy.
My favorite episode is the This Is Your Life episode, so to speak.
I really like the Ghost of Christmas Agathas.
Well, I love it because it almost makes you think that she's not so much a villain, that she's like possibly trying to help her as like a therapist.
Yeah, it's very much. She's very much just a curious antagonist.
Yeah.
Like, she's not out to actively hurt this, and she wasn't the active cause and catalyst for the entire events of the show. It's just like, I need to know how you done this.
Yeah.
Just tell me.
And also, just like that episode fills in like so many gaps, like it fills in like, and then it gives me I think one of the best scenes that, it's just, I don't know, like I told you, Mitch, it kind of made me tear up a little bit, just how it played out, like when she creates Vision again and like it does the black and white thing, and it's just like, I literally, like, when I think about it, it's
that was episode 9.
Yeah, I kind of up.
Wait,
no, that was the episode.
No, that was 8. You're right. Sorry. Yeah.
Because and then like the scene where he's sitting in the Avengers compound during like Civil War or before Civil War, and like
I'm going to change my mind and agree with you. Episode 8 is by far my favorite. Yeah,
it's because it just has so many like great moments, and like it like that one single episode for me makes me believe that these characters like love each other.
Yeah.
Like it that 1 hour or 40 minutes did more than any.
I was going to say it's not now.
Yeah.
Marvel needs to stop lying about how long these damn shows are.
But that episode does more than all the scenes that they've ever been in any of the movies.
Yeah.
It almost
that one episode is longer than every scene they've had in the movies.
Yeah. You could almost use that as an end of the show to a point, I think in a different
world where the Hex carried on, like you could quite easily have done this leads into a House of M situation, which you could still kind of do in theory. But
yeah, I mean,
could have easily have had that at the end, and he just gets bigger and carries on.
Yeah. But yeah, the show is like, it's like I told you in the past. It's like 50% foreshadowing for 50% fan service. I mean,
and
like if
the ending's definitely a foreshadow, but we'll get to that later on.
Oh yeah. But like I think I've watched that episode like probably 4 times. Just in total, because it just does it for me. It resonates with me a little bit more. It gives me the reason why that episode 1 through 3 happened, or 1 through 4. It fills in those gaps of how did she do this and why. I think the real villain of the show is more the sword acting director, I should say.
See, I'm very firmly on the villain of this show is just grief and trauma.
I think
everything else is an antagonist or just another layer.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. The villain is her emotions, like the grief that she's going through, but he does not help the situation at all.
He's
that guy,
comically a dick. He's a dick. Like, come on.
He is like, that's a trope too. You're making the head of an organization. The acting, antagonist.
But like, he's not the best character.
No,
that ever done. But it's like he serves his purpose exactly.
So, do you want to talk about the other characters like Monica and Darcy and Jimmy Woo?
I was gonna say Jimmy Woo's that first intro where he flicks the card out. I could have. That was
full circle.
All I needed. Circle. And then they gave him the flourish line at the end. It's just like, he's been watching the show just like me.
He went full circle.
So he was great. Because that's such subtle character development. It's not even character development. It's like, hey, this guy learned the trick after a couple of years.
And it clearly tells you when, like, it gives you an idea of when this takes place too. Like, even though that they told you it happens after Endgame, but if they didn't tell you it was after Endgame, you would know.
Yeah, there's the essence of time has passed since we've last seen him. Now, what I want to know, did Jimmy get blipped?
I don't think they ever they said, but like, I don't know. I know. I think Darcy did. But they never really.
They never allude to if they did or didn't. The only one we know for sure. It's obviously because Monica was the one we're going to focus on more. But
who's to say that they don't get into that more later on?
It's true. It's true. There's always time. Yeah. Get Jimmy Woo and the Agents of Atlas together, and he can explain why he didn't.
Like Darcy's going to be around for a long time. They're probably going to have enough time to explain if she's gone, blippy.
Actually, I was going to say, because she knows everything that happened in the fight, but I suppose the rest of the world, no matter where they are, knows what happens in Endgame at that point.
Yeah.
Something like that, after 2 weeks, everyone's going to know.
Well, the thing about this show also that does something different with that. With the blip, it makes the blip more serious.
I think that was one of the best scenes.
Yeah. Because we've seen the effects, and we've seen it in Spider-Man, and it's comically, people popping up in crazy places, and but like you never really get an idea of how like scary it was, and until this episode, it's like
we've seen both sides of it. We get that look, isn't it funny they came back in the exact same spot during the basketball game, and then we've got but what if someone came back in a hospital? What does that look like?
And also, what if they came back and the person that they thought was living is not there anymore? It was heartbreaking.
What a thing to have to go through. Yeah. And it's like, I could have, I missed the last 2 years of her life. Like that's horrible. And actually, that's another one small thing that kind of irked me. Like, did we have to kill Maria Rambeau off screen?
I'm sure they didn't have to, but
it's like I get why, but it's like, come on, Maria deserved.
Who's to say that we don't get more into that?
That's true. That's true.
I think for the purpose of the show, I think they wanted to kind of like, make you feel like what Monica felt like.
Yeah.
Monica felt like what is going on here. And I think that's what
as you say, like it's set up with how they do Monica reacting to just the name drop of Captain Marvel. It's like, that's going to be explored because
for sure, yeah. Well, I mean, then you got a lot of connections to, like, it's not like she's not going to show up in that movie. It's just she's gonna be. But that one line kind of gives you an idea of, like, there was some bad blood between Carol and Monica. And
whether Carol or not, we don't know.
Well, I mean, like, I think I mean, and I'm not I'm not divulging anything.
I say don't say anything I've got to edit out.
Well, this is my personal speculation is, like, I think it has something to do with, like, she has resentment because of her mom. Was Carol here and what can she do? Carol wasn't on Earth, when Maria died. So I'm sure there's some resentment, coming from Monica.
Which is an interesting thing because we know Carol must have spent some time on Earth. She did come back.
Yeah, but I think wasn't she really? I mean, like, they play in Endgame. They really played up the fact that Carol was super busy, going to other worlds.
Yeah, but she says she's not going to see me for a long time. So they kind of they've given her an interesting spotlight. Was she there at that time? Like, even if she was there, like, you could make the
what can you do?
Make the case of, like, well, Monica doesn't know she was there. Monica just assumed she wasn't there, and all this.
Well, not just that. Is, like, Monica thinks. I mean, it's the same thing with anybody that thinks that the other person could save the other person. It's like, just because Carol has powers doesn't mean she can heal people. So, even
I'd be interested to see, actually, if it's a case of it's not that she wasn't there when she died, if it was the fact that Carol wasn't there in Infinity War and not Endgame, not in the 5-year gap. So if Carol was here to stop it, that'd be an interesting way to take it. Like, no, the resentment's there for this because you weren't here for Infinity War. I lost those 2 years.
Yeah, I mean that again, that's another thing. I always think that it goes on the fact that, like, she just wasn't around, and there
is that as well as what 20 odd years that she just pissed off.
Well, and then you also got the thing where it's like it's almost a normal reaction for people to resent. Like, it's like a gut reaction to a person that, like, it's not like they mean it. They're just resentful because they lost something, and, like, they think that other person could have done something to save it. It's like,
it's almost like the show is saying emotions are complicated.
Yeah, it definitely plays into the theme of the show, and, like, it doesn't directly say it that way, but, like, you get that, like, just from the line delivery from Monica when you mention her name, you're like, there is some resentment there, and, like,
make an interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun to watch. I think to see, like, how the interaction, because like, I mean, who's to say Carol has seen Monica and that, and, like, she's probably seeing her for the first time. It's like,
because obviously, like, she's obviously, there's resentment there, but every big Monica moment, like when she comes back from the blip, she hears Carol, and when she's going through the wall, she hears Carol. There's obviously more than just resentment there.
No, like, well, I mean, it's like like I said, it's like with anybody that loses somebody, they just have, like, this, like, it's just like a natural instinct to push people away, and, like, and put blame on something. It's not like they are blaming. Maybe she's not, like, not intentionally doing it, but it's just like, it's an emotion, It's like. Yeah.
Just an instinct.
It's like, when a person dies close to you, and I don't know, it's just, I think it plays in, like, the whole, like, she's resentful. There's a resentment there, but there's still something there, that ties the, like, it's not like she, I don't know, like, it's hard to explain. I'm not a therapist, but, like, it's, I don't have a clinical MD in therapy, but like, in mental health, but, like, I think it's just, like, I mean, I've lost people, and you have that feeling of, like, why didn't you do something? Why didn't you, it's like, deep down inside that person can't do anything, and they're doing whatever they can or whatever, it's just, I think that's going to be explored more in the sequel, and like, it's a good setup. That's for sure.
It's a very good setup. And what I find interesting about Monica, that interview with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard and that Matt Shakman done, he says about like how the MCU works. And it's like it's a relay race. Like, you set up. It's kind of like TV show. Like if you do a pilot, setting the tone for everything. And he's like, right, well, I've got Monica Rambeau. I get to realize how her character is and how her powers look and everything, and then that gets passed on to the next person. But what I find interesting is they don't really show you her powers realized in this. Like we get a little glimpse in it, and I think it's a fair assumption to say she's not photon, she's spectrum. Hence why the eyes change different colors.
Well, my interpretation is like she doesn't know. I mean, from the beginning, she didn't even know she had powers.
I mean, there is that as well.
Maybe that is just like an initial, like, instinct that, that
it's that typical superhero thing where like the powers you don't know you've got, maybe you base it on instinct, kind of like how Wanda's been going since Age of Ultron.
Yeah, exactly. It's like she didn't know she was an actual witch, and that she could do all this stuff, and then that also it shows it in that scene where the Stark bomb is. It's like she didn't realize she was doing that.
No, which I adore the hell out of that retcon, because for the since that movie came out, no one has questioned why that bomb never went off. We've seen Stark technology like it doesn't go wrong. The missiles always work. Nothing's ever a dud. So why would this one thing be a dud? And no one ever questioned it, and they used that as a point, and I adore the hell out.
Yeah. I mean, it shows how the writers are paying attention to like the
even
past,
though you have that, but on the flip side, in Age of Ultron, they're eating dinner, and this was watching TV, which memories are a funky thing. Right?
Yeah, and especially when you're like, like I can't remember. I mean, look, I can barely remember what happened last week. But,
I was gonna say now, I struggle to remember 3 hours ago.
Yeah. So, but like you still remember something, but you don't remember it exactly how. It's like when
details always change.
Yeah, it's like when a car crash happens and the police come over and ask for a description of what happened. 90% of the time, the person that was sitting right in front of the crash is telling you something that probably
it's that typical, like there's always 3 sides to the story. There's your side, there's their side, there's the truth.
Yeah.
It's just one of like the Malcolm in the Middle DVD. It's just like hang on. But that's just me being anal about details.
Yeah, I mean, there's things in every show that like are very slightly, off. That it just has to. I mean, like you just have to give a mulligan every once in a while to shows in general and movies.
And it's just not like I clocked it straight away. It was kind of like. I rewatched Age of Ultron after that episode, and it's just like, hang on a minute, hang on, he said dinner. So who was lying was I assume Pietro was lying at that point because Agatha took it right from her head, which is another thing I really like was the consistency with magic.
Yeah,
because Doctor Strange pulls Thor's hair out to open the doorway, and Agatha does the same thing to Wanda. It's just like that's a nice little detail. I appreciate.
I mean, like from what I've been told and what I've seen, it's like.
Remember, if I got to edit out, don't say it.
Oh well, I mean, the writers of the show and the developer, like showrunners, were all had access to everything, and they said, hey, let's try to streamline it and make it as consistent as possible. Let's not make magic look different, drastically different.
It's like there's different forms of magic, and obviously we have that because Wanda's never looked like strangers, but there's always going to be a similarity because at the end of the day, magic is magic.
Yeah, and then you also got the thing where it's just like in the comics where like other worlds have different magic, so like other dimensions might have other magics, and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I did like Monica's.
Yeah, I think they set it up really well. She's going to be sticking around for a long time, so get used to.
I hope so. I hope she's not reduced to the sidekick role?
Well, no, I think look, it's you got to realize like her next appearance is only her second appearance, so like they're gonna probably amp it up a little bit in the next appearance, and then like just gradually, like
it's just like
it depends on.
If you go back like before with like say a Rhodey, like you can understand why Rhodey's relegated to the sidekick because he's the best friend character and he's not who you're following, and you had to rely on appearing in every movie every now and then. But in the day and age where we have these shows that are coming out one after another, having 2 week break between them, it's just like, set Spectrum up, give her a show.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything's on the table when it comes to stuff like that. Like, especially with how like everything. Like Kevin Feige said, everything's gonna be connected. So like these shows. Whatever happens to these shows has consequences in the movies and vice versa.
Unlike Loeb, he wasn't lying.
yeah. We'll explore that more on. I honestly would rather have a show versus a movie. Because
I'd say it fits the comic format of episode, like being episodic.
Yeah, and I think, especially now, I think shows are more. I don't know. I think TV shows in the days of now are more.
This age of limited series, like this, I mean, they're so much better.
Well, it's like I feel like the show format gives the opportunity to stretch out the storytelling, and then develop the character more. Like whereas a movie, it's like relegated to like maybe 2 hours and a half. And then you start having to cut things out, and then possibly, hopefully, back in the sequel or whatever, But like, I think with shows, it gives the opportunity to flesh out the character, and then you go, all right, there's a Monica show, and then like a year or two later, she's in the movie somewhere, and like, she's gonna be in the movies, but like, give her own movie, the Ultimates or whatever, develop that.
R.I.P. Chadwick. No,
I mean, unfortunately, but I think whoever has the role. So
I say whoever steps into that, you can always just put that Panther on there, but it's never gonna go. Which is it's always gonna be that nickel. It would have been different. I know. Now, where do we go now?
I think we could end it off with the white. I mean, we can brush off.
Let's talk about Vision actually, because a lot of this is obviously it's Wanda's story, and every time I talk about it with Armin and doing the commentaries, Wanda dominated the conversation because obviously it's called WandaVision. It's Wanda's story, very much about Wanda, and Vision kind of got left out of that conversation a little bit. I really liked what they did with him here. I like the way they brought him back and also set him up to be something else. And it's clearly not the same Vision that we have or that we had. And it's not the same Vision that was in this show. This is a completely different Vision. That's my take anyway. Well, personally, I don't think you have a conversation about the ship of Theseus and then just make White Vision the same Vision you had before. And I don't think the line of I was a voice with no body, a body but not human, now memory made real, to then just reset Vision back. I think if you want the stakes of Vision dying to stay from Infinity War, you push him forward being a slightly different take. Personally, that was the assumption I got from this. It's like, yes, he has the memories. Fair enough. Like, he's got that there. But do the memories make the person? Is the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Vision 2.0.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he's gonna have the same. It's like taking a computer and taking all the stuff on the hard drive and then putting it back onto another hard drive. I mean, another computer.
It's not the same computer,
but it's the same body. That's the thing.
Different body.
It's a different body, but it's
it's the same body, because obviously it's the one they
configure it different.
Yeah. Some design changes because that head and the chest aren't the same. And obviously he's got the outline of the underwear, which is
undies. He's got the undies.
How whoever Andy Park is whoever
Genius.
actually drew
nice guy
and when we need these undies here now. Beautiful. Though perfect opportunity to give him the collar, you didn't take it. I can live with it. Kind of, there's a slight resentment there again. It's like, how do we give Wanda the crown or the wimple actually, but we don't give Vision the collar?
I think it was always the plan to do the White Vision.
I just hope White Vision stays a little bit.
Oh no, he's going to be here for a while.
Don't make him all Technicolor. Just
no.
Because that's a perfect season 2 for this thing. Like, have those two like figuring everything out.
Yeah,
it's such an interesting place where they left him. It's like, she still has. To her, this is the same person, but to him, it's a completely different situation. It's like I have these memories, but I'm not that person.
Yeah.
But obviously, we haven't got a season 2 yet.
Yeah.
He's clearly being set up for a different movie, and to be in a very different spot. Because,
it's
people saying this show amounted to nothing. Like the introduction of the Darkhold is like that alone is huge.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah. That's a discussion for a different day on the Darkhold, but like it's interesting. It's gonna bring out some more interesting stuff. It's gonna.
I say because that Darkhold up is a completely different door to everything, but specifically for Wanda and where it leaves her off, as you said, but we've talked about before, like the suit's darker. It's clearly meant to indicate she's on a slightly different path to what she was before. Yeah. Whether she's going to be a straight villain, I don't believe they're going to play her off that way. No. Personally, I think so either. Like, do I think that the actress Olsen is going to have to play a villain? Yes. Do I think Wanda's going to be a villain? No.
Well, I think the end of the show indicates that she's not going to be a straight villain to the show.
No.
I think she's trying to obtain something. Look, to get to the end, I think she's just trying to get the kids back.
Yeah. But see, that's the interesting thing for me with that end. I just jumping straight to that post-credit scene.
Uh-huh.
Like, part of the kids' origin is that they're a thing, they die, they come back as something else. Which is very much a theme for the show, the death and rebirth of characters. But a part of their origin is tied to being originally brought from something else. Like they were originally the shards of Master Pandemonium, and then they became the shards of Mephisto.
Okay, so who's to say that something like that doesn't happen?
Well, see, that's what I was going to say. That's the feeling that, as someone who years ago was championing Cthulhu to be part of this thing and part of her character and not do the mutant route, I'm firmly riding that wave of I'm going to be right about this thing. It's like you can easily swap out, because the comics that you can swap out whatever soul they came from with someone else. So if you're going to tie them to anything, like Cthulhu's right there. Like that would be the perfect way, because all he wants is to get back into Earth. He's trapped in the flickering realm. So get her to drag him out and do it that way.
Who's to say that Doctor Strange 2 doesn't end up doing something?
That's the assumption that's where I think they're taking that movie.
Well, this is my opinion again. I don't think the kids that she saves are the same characters that were in.
No, because that's very much a part of their story. Is they get resurrected as other people, and that's you get Billy Kaplan and Tommy Shepard.
Yeah,
I believe is the kids' names, and then there's that whole interest thing of they don't actually know each other. It was only later down the line that they get their memories back. Okay. Which is kind of the route I'm hoping to go, because she only hears Tommy, which I find interesting. That Billy doesn't say a damn word at the end. There.
all will be revealed around Doctor Strange 2 in a year. So
I need it now. I want it now.
Yeah. It's a tough wait, I think, but I think the people involved in that movie is going to completely tie up the knots in the most interesting way.
No, I'm very much convinced it's Chthon, because a horror villain. Hey, look, it's literally a Lovecraftian monster.
I like that better than Nightmare.
Yeah, no.
I never understood. I don't think people understood what Nightmare did when they were suggesting that it was Nightmare.
Nightmare would make a really good movie. And it'd make a very good horror movie as well, like being the whole Freddy Krueger of Marvel.
I mean, it would be, but it's not. This is not tying it. I don't think it ties into
the
Wanda.
Multiverse and all that. Yeah. No, I think there's a reason why she's there, and where they've left her off, it's very much like this multiversal the god demon from the Demiurge. It's just...
I like I said, I would much rather have the Chthon, as and it's such a good villain, because it's such a blank slate almost, in terms of they can do whatever they want to with him. They can almost kind of amalgamate the characters to Master
Pandemonium.
Pandemonium and Chthon, and kind of merge those two characters together to make
really easily.
It's simple.
And also because I think it was only recently they revealed in the comics that Billy is the new Demiurge, which is Chthon's father. So it's you can easily tie that, just change a bit around and tie that into that. It's so easily done. I definitely think that's the way they're going.
It's a more interesting versus Nightmare. I think Nightmare again is I want Mephisto as a character, but I don't think I want Mephisto. You got to do Mephisto right. You can't just throw him in a.
I was gonna say, Mephisto exists in the MCU because there's so many Easter eggs for it.
I think so. I think eventually they get to him, because
I think I can't remember what movie is or where, but his name's definitely on something.
Yeah, I think they get to the character. It's just there's a lot of tricky things with the character that might not work in different countries, but I think they get to a character. Yeah,
but then that begs the question: is Chthon going to work in China? Because
I mean, if they do the character, if they can,
because Chthon can look different. They don't necessarily do the whole demonic squid head thing, which clearly is an Easter egg in the Darkhold from the Scarlet Witch page that we saw.
I think there's a way of skirting around it. I mean, Chthon is not actually
just make him look like a person. He's looked like a person before. He's only really recently changed him up to be all demonic.
Or they could just, and this is just me spitballing, is make him another sorcerer. Another sorcerer that is I
mean, it's essentially what he is. He was the first black magician.
Yeah. Okay, so that's. I mean, if you kind of rejigger his origins and not make him as, tied to the demonic part of him, I think they could.
Because it's literally what he is. He was the first dark magician or black magician, whatever they call it in the comics. I can't remember. And then he literally was just a person with grey skin, and then he just went on. And then they've recently made him a demon and stuff. You haven't in theory, you haven't even got to show him. You just have this thing possess Wanda, because that's what happens as well. There's so many ways to do it.
Yeah, and I'm sure that the writers are probably way better at it than we are, But I think they'll figure it out. I think if that's
they're way better than I am. But
they're more
same
creative than I am.
With this, at least with this show, I was on the same wavelength as them. So
I'm just a pencil pusher at this point. I'm not a creative person. But I think and to sum up the whole show, I think that one line from Vision in the episode that I think it is, I think that just summed up that whole episode, that whole series, in a nice little bow, ties it up.
That's just one Jerry, line. If not the Snyder Cut persevering.
I think it ties it up really nicely, and
it does. It was a fantastic line, and the delivery on that was so well done.
Yeah, Paul Bentley Vision, you know, like you give him that nice British accent. It's so cute and nice.
Even with their goodbye.
Yeah.
But arguably the most emotional thing of the entire series. That goodbye is
yeah.
And they did the little Vision cry, the Vision tear thing. Oh.
It goes back to the thing where it's like, I think the show does exactly what it intended to do, and it does it well. You know,
it does it extremely well. Does it have a slight fumble in it? Yes. Is anything perfect? No.
No.
Can I even hold a slight fumble against it? Absolutely not, because those last 10 minutes are perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, it just the show. I don't know. It shows how like they're the heart, the emotional core of the MCU. You know, you think it's Captain America or something like that, but it's like, no, it's just two people that fell in love, you know, and like they're, you know, like, and they just so happen to be, one's a witch and one's a syntheticoid, you know.
Yeah, they don't ask you. They don't ask a lot of people, but
only in the Marvel universe,
yeah.
You know. But
I do hope going forward they play like a bit of resentment for from Wanda's side, because she was left all alone here. I know it's very soon after Endgame, but she was left alone to her own devices, and no one showed up. I'd have some resentment.
I mean, who's to say they won't be? I mean, like
all their poop will be turned into cactuses or cacti.
And I think they're gonna address that maybe, you know, because like I think Clint's adventure is probably gonna be taking her part around when this is happening. So it's like there's a reasoning why he wasn't there.
That looks to be in Christmas. I suppose there's obviously going to be some flashback stuff and everything.
That's not like I think after Endgame, a lot of people had a lot of issues to work out, and they just kind of like floated apart. You know, and like, you know, and I'm sure Wanda's probably gonna held some resentment, but like, I think I think at the end of the day, I think Doctor Strange is gonna come in with his compassion.
he does that scene from Community that Troy does in the apartment, and everything's on fire when he opens the door. And it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how those two interact, because they never really interacted very much in the MCU, and it's
they've never shared a scene together.
Never. And I mean, they shared a battlefield before, but like,
well, yeah, they shared the battlefield, and then Strange was on the other side holding up the water while Wanda was doing all the work.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to her, because he has to have known that something like this happened, you know, because
see, this is what I hope. My last little bit of speculation on where this is going to go. I really hope they take the route that Strange has no idea chaos magic is actually a thing, because it's never been a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's never been any record of it. Like, the Darkhold was never actually something they read, so no one knows chaos magic was a thing. Like, it's just that's a witch thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good. I think that's a good thing. You know, like I think. Like it shows that like Strange isn't the master of everything, because he doesn't know everything, obviously.
Yeah. There's always going to be something. You're always learning.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they approach that. You know, like his characteristics versus hers. Like it's gonna be very interesting.
I say she's got the fashion game. She's got him beat in the fashion game. Like I said before, I'm not a great fan of that costume. The more I look at it, the more I see it with the cape, especially that hot toy. That hot toy has done me over. The more I like it. It's just that the cape attaches. I'm like, if you never take that off, that thing's amazing. And I feel I kind of resent myself for like flipping my opinion on it so quickly. But it's just like I'm starting to really like it. It's like, damn it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's nice that she finally has it. It's the Wimple's fantastic. I adore
the exclamation mark. But
yeah. So yeah, if this is an indication of where they're going, like the style of these shows and how different they are to everything else, then I'm on board that for everything.
Yeah. I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised.
Because this was a pleasant surprise. Like obviously you knew it was going to be different just from the concept of it, but everything like the execution of it and how it actually rolled out, it was very very good. I appreciate the hell out of that. That's Wanda got to be the one. Well, yeah, so that's going to bring us to an end. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you indifferent? Did you not even watch it? If so, what the hell were you here for an hour and 5 minutes?
Yeah, two people talking about a show that you've never seen before.
Go watch it. It's really damn good.
Go watch it, then come back and comment.
Yeah, and join us in 2 weeks when Falcon and Winter Soldier starts, and there's the audio commentary for members. Which, if you're not a member and you want to hear those commentaries, go join. I'm not sure what tier it is, but it's one of the tiers. So make sure you read that and then check those out.
I feel special that I'm in some of the tier episodes.
Well, very first.
I mean, the tier. I'm in the Patreon episodes now.
Yeah. Well, we don't do Patreon anymore. It's all YouTube membership stuff.
Okay. Well, Patreon. Either way.
Yeah.
Very special.
You are in the old WandaVision commentary, and we'll get you back for more.
Oh yeah.
I'll spare you the Snyder Cut stuff. So don't worry.
Actually, I would love to talk about it because probably by the time you guys watch it, I probably wouldn't have finished it already. So I mean, talk about the first 30 minutes.
I was going to say, fun fact, we are doing it in parts because we're not going to sit down for 4 hours and subject anyone to that, let alone ourselves.
Well, I mean, if you need an extra talking head, I'd be more than happy to. I can be the negative Nancy to the,
Oh, what compared to me and Armin on that thing?
Oh, look. I think I can top you guys on that because I think I've pissed off by everybody that I have talked to about that movie. So
hey, we shall see. But yes,
poop emoji.
Keep you in mind.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll need someone to carry on talking when we have a little kip. So
yeah, if you want someone to have interesting jokes and cracks in the middle of the episode to make it interesting, yeah, I'm your man.
So yeah, thanks everyone for joining. I hope you enjoyed WandaVision. I hope you're excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier because we will catch you all when that happens. So bye bye.
Bye bye.